Tim Kaine had an unfortunate truth about the two different tracks, the two different bills that are being put out there. What he points out is there is a bigger. Well, I tell you what. Let's listen to what he says first, and then we'll take it on the other side. I think that is important, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Are you concerned about the price tag of this bill, and how do you convince Democrats, members of your own caucus, who may be a little bit skittish about the price tag?
You know, what I said going into this, Eamon, and I was sort of in a moderate position among the budget Dems. I had, folks to the left of me and at least one to the right of me and what the price tag should be. I said in the aftermath of a once-in-a-century pandemic that killed 600,000 people and that caused a mass catastrophe in the economy, we should go big rather than go small, but we should pay for it. The bipartisan infrastructure bill, I'm not sure it's going to be completely paid for because Republicans generally don't like pay-fors. But on the reconciliation bill, let's go big, but let's pay for it. And as we work this through, that's a commitment that we have, and I think we're going to be able to accomplish it. So as long as we pay for it, I feel like we ought to go big. This is still a moment where millions of people are not working who would want to be. People can't come back into the labor force. And we got to build an economy that is more sustainable, more equitable, and every bit as robust as the pre-pandemic economy.
I want to make one correction to what he said first. I don't want an economy that is as bold as the pre-pandemic economy, because that pre-pandemic economy was still skewed towards the rich, and the middle class and the poor were still ultimately in decline. In other words, we were still getting mass wealth inequality and income inequality. That was maintained. But what he said is interesting. It is more likely than the big tax $3.5 trillion bill would be paid for than the one in the bipartisan bill. And why won't the bipartisan bill get paid for? Because they don't like taxing. They don't like to tax the people that need to be taxed, and the people that they don't mind taxing, poor people, ain't got the money to pay for this stuff because all the monies are going to the top. Now let's go into a bit of economics here. Everybody claims that, well, with all this spending, should we be worried about inflation? And we say, no, we don't have to worry about inflation, because if it's done correctly, notice that $3.5 trillion a reconciliation bill that only Democrats will pass. Let's go ahead and say, oh, that's a lot of influx over 10 years of an extra $350 billion or so into the economy. Modern monetary theory says that we have a slack in spending in about between $600 to $800 billion. So that still does not cover the amount of additional liquidity we could add into into our economic system. But let's go ahead and talk about how do we dampen that anyway. Remember what we just said. The Democrats want to pay for their $3.5 trillion, but who will pay for that $3.5 trillion? Those people at the top 1% mostly. And why? Because they have been garnering all of the growth in income, all of the growth in wealth. So what we're doing is taking back some of that and paying for these things. And how does that cool the market? Well, supposedly if they were going to invest on the things that they want that further heat the market, we're saying, no, we'll put a damper on it by taking some of that money that you earned off of the people who are looking for wages, who are looking for what they've earned, to get some of that back that you have stolen legally. Get that back into their hands. In other words, you didn't pay them $15 an hour. You didn't pay them $20 an hour so that you could give your shareholders humongous benefits. Remember, everything that shareholder has, every billion that Bezos has, every billion that Bill Gates has, came out of the monies they did not pay our regular average citizen who actually made them rich. Remember that. There should be no concern about having the rich pay for these services that bring kids up, that brings our economy up, that brings our infrastructure back, because they've already paid for it with the monies that you have taken to enrich yourself by not paying them their worth, which would have also gone partially into taxes to do all these things. So no, please frame the debate correctly. I'm glad that Tim Kaine started the debate. Now let's end the debate by boldly boldly letting it be known that you must be taxed to take some of that excess labor you've legally stolen from the average American citizen. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.